Hi, good day, everyone. So, our topic for today is all about function. So, how do we define function? So, in simpler explanation, a relation is a function such that there is exactly one output for each input. Every input must have an output. Two different inputs can have the same output, and one output can only have one exact output. So, basically, if we're defining a function is defined as in every element in X, there's exactly one element in Y, right? And then another thing is the input is called the domain of the function and the output is the range of the function. Okay, so let's have an example. So which of the following relations are functions? So let's start with the first relation. So we have here relation T, which has composed or which is composed of ordered pairs. So in this case, we have 9 comma 10, negative 5 comma negative 2, 2 comma negative 1, and 3 comma negative 9. For you to simply determine if this relation is a function, then you just need to check each element in X. So please take note that we're talking about ordered pairs. So ordered pairs is being written in the form of X comma Y. So you just need to check. So for you to know if this is a function, so you just need to check all the elements in the domain, right? So as you can see here, every um or there's exactly one y that is being mapped to the x element. So in this case, this is considered as function. Okay. Then another relation. So if we're talking about relation I, which is composed of 6a, 8f, 6b, and negative 2p. So if we're asked if this is function or not a function, so of course, you just need to again check the first element of each ordered pair. So as you can see here, 6 is being repeated and it is being mapped to another set of y element. So in this case, we'll consider this relation as not a function. Okay. Then lastly, if we have the relation P, so as you can see here, we have map the element Z to Y or to the elements in Y twice because we have here 7 and 0, then this is considered as not a function as well. Okay, so I hope you get it. Okay, so let's have another example. So for this example, let's have this one. So again, we have here a relation which is composed of 3 comma negative 6, 5 comma 1, 4 comma L, and 2 negative 6. So as you can see here, of course, if you will check all the first element of each ordered pairs, so in this case, in every element in X, there's exactly one Y. So it means that this is a function. Okay, I hope you get it. Okay, so what if we have this? What if we have graph the input and the output or the X and Y, right? So this is just the same. What you need to do is you just need to check each input of this given graph, and in every input, there's exactly one output. Okay, so as you can see here, upon checking, you'll see that in every input of this given graph, you will see that it is being mapped to Y at exactly 1. So in this case, this is function. Okay, how about this one? So as you can see here, class, you will notice you will notice that upon checking, element in X, which is not -9, is being mapped to the Y element 1 and 5. Sorry, 1 and 3. So in this case, if that's the case that one of the element in X is being mapped to the output twice, then it means that this is not considered as a function. So not a function. Okay, so I hope we're all clear with this. Next is we'll move on. So the next topic is all about vertical line tests. So what is vertical line test? So for instance, that if we have a graph, say, if we have a graph and if we want to know if the graph is a function or not a function, so what you need to do is you just need to determine it using the vertical line test. So it says here by the vertical line test that if a vertical line is drawn to the graph of the function and intersects more than once, then that curve does not represent a function. Otherwise, it is a function, right? So let's try this one. Okay, so tell whether if the following graphs represent a function. So if we have f of x is equal to 2x minus 5, so basically it's a graph of a line. This is a linear function, right? So if you will look at the right side of the screen, you will see this line, right? And this represents 2x minus 5. So how do we know now if this is a function or not a function? So what you need to do is you just need to um draw a vertical line in this given linear function, and if the vertical line touches once on a given line, then it means that this is considered as function. So as you can see here, if you will draw any vertical line on this given linear function, it will touch only once. So in this case, this is considered as function. Okay, how about the next one? So what if we have f of x which is equal to 4x squared minus 10? So in this case, class, this graph represents, of course, a parabola because this can be written as y is equal to 4x squared minus 10. And as you can see, or if you will remember, if one of the variable is being squared and the other one um is is just raised to 1, then we can conclude that the graph of this given function is a parabola. So if as you look on the right side of this presentation, you will see the graph of this 4x squared, or y is equal to 4x squared minus 10. And if you want to know if this is a function, so of course you just need to draw a vertical line on this parabola. And same goes with the first example. This will be considered as function because the vertical line will touch only once in the given graph. So it means that this is a function as well, or parabola is, or this parabola or this graph, which is a parabola, will be considered as a function. Okay, how about this one? So if we have y squared is equal to negative 4x squared plus 36, so basically, the graph of this function will be an ellipse. And again, if you will try to draw a vertical line on this given, again, on this given function, what you'll notice is it will touch 2 points on a given ellipse. And if that's the case, that it touches 2 points on a given function, then it means that this function, this equation is not a function. So it means that this is not a function because it touches 2 point on a given ellipse, given that we have the vertical line. Okay. So I hope we're all clear with function. So let's proceed now to the next one. So the next topic is all about evaluating a function. So considering that we have this given function, find the following. So let's start with the first one. So just this is just a recap of the discussion, because I know for sure that this has been tackled to you during your senior high school. Okay, so what if we have f of x is equal to 2x plus 5? We're asked to find f of 2. So basically, um, what you need to do here is you just need to substitute directly the 2 on a given function. So in this case, this will become equal to, or f of 2, x will be replaced by 2, of course. So this will become equal to 2 times 2 plus 5. So this will become equal to, of course, that's 9. So f of 2 is just equal to 9. Okay, next. Given the function, find the following. So we're asked to find f of negative 2, given that we have a function x squared plus 6x plus 33. So in this case, again, same goes with the first example. You just need to replace all the variable x by negative 2. So in this case, this will become equal to negative 2 squared plus 6 times negative 2 plus 33. So in this case, this will become equal to 4, then minus 12, then plus 33. So in this case, this will become equal to 4 plus 33, that's 37, then minus 12. So in this case, this will become equal to, yeah, that's right, that's 25. So f of negative 2 is just equal to 25. Okay, what's next? So given the function, find the following. So we're asked to find f of 1/2, given that we have f of x is equal to x plus 1 over x plus 3. So in which we can have f of 1/2 is equal to 1/2 plus 1 over 1/2 plus 3. So in this case, this will be equal to 1/2 plus 1, that's 3 over 2, all over 1/2 plus 3, that's 7 over 2, right? Because what you need to do is you just need to copy the, if you're adding fraction and a whole number, you just need to copy the denominator, then yeah, copy the denominator, then you just need to multiply the denominator of the fraction to the whole number, then add the numerator. So that's why it becomes 3, while this one it becomes 7. So in this case, of course, we're dividing two a fraction. So in that case, we just need to take the reciprocal of this bottom fraction. So in that case, you just need to get the reciprocal. So that's 2 over 7, and in which you can cancel out 2 and 2. So this would give you 3 over 7. So it means that f of 1/2 is just 3 over 7. And then lastly, if you're dealing with a radical and you're asked to find f of a plus 2, so you're asked to substitute a binomial on a given radical equation. So in that case, we'll just have course, substitute it directly. That's f of a plus 2 is equal to the square root of a plus 2 squared plus 1. So evaluating, so this will become equal to the square root of course, if we're dealing with a binomial and it is being squared, so of course you just need to square the first term. So that's a squared. Then you just need to multiply the exponent, the first term, and the second term. Multiply all of these things, you'll have what? 2 times a, that's 2a. Times 2, so it will become 4a. So the middle term will be 4a. Then, for the last term of the squared of a binomial, you just need to square it. Square the second term. So in this case, we have 4. Then, of course, you just need to copy 1. Then, what we'll have is, of course, we'll have the square root of a squared plus 4a plus 5. So this will become now your f of a plus 2. And we're done. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day, everyone.